going on, peeps, and welcome back to this week's Buzzfeed test. Before anything else, I really want to say thank you to everyone who's been liking and commenting on my last DIY. It was, of course, the Rubik's Cube cake, which took me hours and hours to do, but it turned out decent, and you guys all really enjoyed it, so it was worth it. Let me know in the comments of this video if you want me to do more cakes like that in the future, because I do have a couple of good ideas I want to try. Let's just hope I don't have as much pain and suffering as I did while making the last one. But anyway guys, it's been a minute since we've done a video with more than one recipe in it, like a versus or just one with multiple different variations of a recipe. Luckily for you guys though, this week I have 4 different types of chicken poppers to try. The barbecue, the buffalo chicken poppers, the garlic parmesan, and the honey chipotle. All of which look really good and really simple to make, so let's get into it. So basically what we're going to do for this recipe, since the chicken is cooked the same for each type, is make a ton of the chicken poppers and then make the sauces to coat them with afterwards. And since the original recipe calls for 2 chicken breasts, I'm going to double the recipe, so I use 4 breasts in total and then just divide them up so each one gets a different type of sauce, if that made any sense at all. But let's begin. Before I even touched the chicken, I prepared everything I needed. In some small bowls, I measured out 4 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of pepper, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 2 teaspoons of chili powder. Set those off to the side for a minute while I grabbed 2 bigger bowls. In one, I cracked 5 eggs and whisked them together, and just about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of plain flour in the other bowl. Now we can start working with our chicken. One by one, I first broke down each chicken breast, tried to peel some of the fat off of there, and cut it down into bite-sized pieces. If I had to guess, I'd say I got between 16 and 18 pieces of chicken in each one, and of course repeated that process for all 4 pieces of chicken that I had. I dumped the entirety of my chicken into a big ceramic bowl and then one by one threw in all the spices I had pre-measured. I'm thinking I should start doing this technique more often because once my hands are already coated in dirty chicken juice, I can just pour in the ingredients I had measured out already. But once I thoroughly tossed all of the spices throughout all of my chicken, I set that off to the side and grabbed the eggs and the flour. First, they need a thorough coating in your flour. I didn't pre-sift this because, in my opinion, you really don't need to for recipes like this. Then, of course, coated them up in the egg mixture I had and then back into the flour one more time. Try to shake all the excess flour off of the chicken and then do the same for all of the chicken that you have. You can, of course, just cheat this process and throw all of your chicken in a Ziploc bag with some flour. I just think you get a little bit more thorough of a coating and it's a little less messy when you do it this way. But finally, once I had all of the chicken coated up and ready to go, I went over to my stove and grabbed myself a few cups of oil. Let it come up to temperature and then add your first batch of chicken. There's really no specific time on these, mainly because all of the pieces vary a little bit in size. So I basically just tossed them around in the oil until they got a really crispy golden brown on the outside, which was anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 minutes. You can then remove all of your chicken, transfer that into a bowl or a strainer with some paper towels, and repeat that process for all of the chicken that you have. But now that your chicken is all prepared and looking pretty good, we can finally get on to the sauces. The first couple are going to be really pretty basic. I first started with 2 tablespoons of butter and let it melt down, then about 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce. Let it mix in with the melted butter and come up to a little bit of a simmer. The idea here is to obviously heat the sauce up a little bit so when you eat it, and also to thicken it a bit so it sticks onto the chicken better. I just quickly flipped those out onto my big square plate where I'm going to be putting all 4 different types of chicken and headed back over to my stove for the second one. The second one's also pretty basic. I started with some butter again, another 1/2 cup this time of hot sauce, and basically went through pretty much the same process as before. You just want to make sure the sauce bubbles up nice first and thoroughly coat all of the chicken, and that's pretty much all you have to do for the buffalo chicken poppers. The next 2 recipes though are going to be a little bit more involved. For the third time, I started with yet another 2 tablespoons of butter. To the melted butter, you're going to add 4 cloves of minced garlic. I gave that a minute to brown up with the butter. 1/4 cup of parsley that I chopped up a little bit earlier. Give your ingredients about a minute to cook down a bit and then add a third batch of chicken. I also got a little overconfident here, thinking I was David Flay or something and tried to toss the chicken. And I ended up not dropping a piece, to all you doubters out there. But finally, to finish these off, the recipe calls for a half cup of Parmesan cheese. And I did have it measured out, but it seemed like way too much for the amount of chicken I put in this. I ended up only putting about half of that, so a quarter cup, and trust me, it was more than enough. Now it's safe to say that this final one is definitely the one I'm most skeptical of. But you're gonna start with a quarter cup of honey and add 2 tablespoons to that. Then followed by 2 tablespoons of hot sauce and 2 tablespoons of ketchup. The smell of the steaming pan at this point was indescribable, to be honest. But I just finished it with a tablespoon of chipotle chili powder, and even though my doubts were strong, I added the chicken to that mix. Again, tossed the chicken up to give it a thorough coating, and finally added it to the last spot on our plate. All in all, these ended up looking really good. They kind of remind me of those boneless wings that you get from Applebee's. I'm just hoping they taste a tad bit better than that. I decided it makes the most sense to taste them in the order that I prepared them. So I am going to start with the barbecue ones first. Also, a quick little side note, I just put a picture of this up on my Instagram story, which if you don't already follow me on Instagram, you should. I actually put up that I was going to be talking to everyone through DMs the other day, and I spent about an hour and a half doing so. And I'll probably end up doing that again soon, so you should go over there and follow me if you're not already. Now that the shameless self-promo is done, I do really like it, but honestly I have to say, minus the sauce, minus the coating, the actual piece of chicken is the best part of that, which makes me really excited to try all the rest of these also. It just tastes 100 times fresher than anything you would buy like pre-made like this already. So barbecue already off the bat gets a 7 out of 10. Now for the buffalo. Again, really simple, really good, not really any surprises. And because I like buffalo more than I do barbecue, I'll give that a 8 out of 10. Now I do have to admit that these are definitely the ones I'm most excited for. I'm assuming that they're gonna taste like the garlic Parmesan French fries that you could get in some places, but oh my god, those are fire. Holy cow. All restaurants need to start selling these bad boys ASAP. The coating of the fresh parsley and the Parmesan and garlic is just like such a heavenly combination. I keep trying to think of a complaint to make about those, and I really just can't think of one. You do really have to like Parmesan cheese because obviously there's a lot in it, but personally it's a 10 out of 10 for me. And finally, these ketchup honey hybrid chickens. Why does it remind me of like a piece of fish? It smells like salmon or something. That is the strangest thing. Disregard that. I don't wanna. Alright, okay. It tastes better than it smells. I worried for no reason. They're actually pretty good. Just don't smell them before you eat them. I did not think the chipotle and the ketchup and honey were gonna mesh together, but they actually do really nicely. If anything, I would just tone down the honey a little bit because it's kinda on the sweet side for me, but other than that, it's pretty good, so 7 out of 10. If you guys enjoyed this week's video, please smash a like on this video for me. It really helps me out a lot. Also, let me know which one of these you guys would want to try most. I already feel like I know which one is going to be the most popular, but I'll leave it to you guys. But other than that, have an incredible rest of your week. Enjoy your Friday and the beginning of your weekend, and I'll see you right back here on Sunday. Peace.